59-year-old Philip Fraser has been arrested and charged over the fatal beating of his 60-year-old roommate Danny Jones over a noise complaint. The incident occurred at around 11:45 p.m. on the 12th of May 2022, when the authorities were called to a home located at the 27,600 block of 123rd Avenue in Kent, Washington, on reports of a domestic disturbance. Officers and paramedics rushed to the scene. However, when they arrived, they found Danny lying on the ground unconscious. Medics tried performing life-saving measures on him. However, they were unable to save him, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. The investigators then questioned Philip. He said he was released from prison 13 days ago, and that the Department of Corrections provided his housing, which was a transitional home where he shared a room with Danny Jones. Philip told the officers that they had both lived together since his release, and Danny repeatedly complained about the noises he'll make while he tried to sleep. He said that Danny went to bed early, and he was in his own bed across the room from Danny. While he was watching Netflix on his phone, Philip said he became hungry and got up and went to the nightstand to grab some candy. Philip said as he began to manipulate the packaging, the rustling noise woke Danny up. Upset, Danny got out of bed and confronted Philip. As they argued, Philip reacted by grabbing and holding Danny down on his mattress, while he repeatedly punched him in the side of the head. Philip is 6'3" and weighs 290 pounds, whereas Danny is 5'8" and only weighs 135 pounds. Philip told police that he was an experienced heavyweight boxer for 14 years, and he was aware that he could seriously injure or kill someone with 2 or 3 punches. He told the officers that he'd reached a point of frustration or breaking point, which he could no longer tolerate. He confessed to attacking Danny, saying he beat him until he heard his skull crack or a crushing sound, which he believed to be brain damage, and this is when he thought he killed him. He also said that he knew something like this was going to happen when he was released from prison, and he knew that he was going back to prison for the rest of his life. A medical examiner determined that Danny had died from blunt force trauma to his head. Fraser had dry blood on his hands, arms and face when he was taken into custody in the early morning hours of the 13th of May. He's charged with second-degree murder, and he's held at the King County Jail on a $4 million bond. Philip has a lengthy violent criminal history of 5 felony convictions, including domestic assault and burning down his parents' house. 17-year-old Springville, Utah resident Lily Conroy remains on life support after she was shot in the head by a 20-year-old ex-boyfriend, Messiah Kayenga, before he turned the gun on himself. The events unfolded at around 3:19 p.m. on the 18th of May 2022, when the authorities were requested to complete a welfare check on Lily and Messiah. They received information that the couple had broken up the night before after a brief argument, and that Messiah had threatened her, although details of the threat were undisclosed. Later, the investigators also discovered there was a gun in his possession that was missing from his home. Deputies went to the last known location of Lily, which was her high school. They began looking for Messiah's vehicle, but they could not find it at the school, but they were able to ping the teenager's cell phone. The investigators said that after searching a few locations, that Messiah's mother told them that her son had called and said that the pair would be at the Hobble Creek Park, located along the 2,200 block of Deer Creek Way in Springville, Utah. At just before 3:45 p.m, officers responded to the park and found the two seated in the vehicle, in a parking lot slumped over with gunshot wounds to their heads. Messiah was pronounced dead at the scene, and Lily was airlifted to a hospital. She's mortally wounded and remains on life support for organ donation purposes. Her family wishes to carry on their daughter's legacy to help someone in need. The police are calling the incident an apparent murder-suicide. An investigation is ongoing. Lily was a junior at Springville High School, where she played softball. Kayenga graduated from the high school a year prior. The pair reportedly grew up together on the same street. Lily's family described her as full of life and love. She leaves behind her parents and 2 younger sisters.